Boy, I didn't think that we'd be here right now. Not on the air, folks. I mean, 1-1-1. It's like being a stutterer.
Yep. Yeah, we definitely have an interesting football team.
Yeah, I mean, this was
and the best part of all, if the Steelers lose on Sunday, the Browns will have a better record this late in the season since I don't know how fucking long.
I mean, this game single-handedly saved the season. You lose this game to the New York Jets, and you might as well seriously have a 450-pound sumo wrestler fucking you in the ass. Now, I know that's a little graphic for people, but you might as well, because it just
as Chef would say, now I know how those white women feel.
Now, Chad in the chat room still hates Hugh Jackson. I mean, some things, never die. And Hugh Jackson's one of them. He'll never die, folks. He's immortal. And he'll just keep coming back generation after generation after generation, ruining some football team. However, we're not here to piss on Hui, because Hui is, he's revolutionary. We have to kind of step aside and understand the way he is. Kind of like, I'm not even going to go there. You just have to, I guess what Lady Gaga would say, he was born that way. Okay? We'll just leave it alone at that. I'm happy we won. I'm thrilled. A season-saving effort. And I want to analyze this maybe a little differently than what, everybody's saying, what were the best 4 or 5 throws that Baker Mayfield made? Or, what was, the secret play that really was the big turning point in the game? And, and so Cleveland.com comes up with the strip of the ball by Denzel Ward. And that's great play. But I thought what was interesting was what Denzel Ward said after the game. After the game, he said, we're told it's not enough to get your man on the ground. You got to take the ball from him. And isn't that refreshing? I mean, before we had coaches who say, hey, guys, please try to tackle them. And now it's like tackling isn't enough. We got to not only tackle them, we got to take the ball from them. And look at the number of turnovers. I mean, 11 compared to 13 all of last year. And
this is exactly how Seattle was coaching the Legion of Boom. That's what made them so effective.
Yeah, and Chad saying the Batonio recovery of Mayfield's fumble was the biggest play of the game. You could really look at a lot of plays in this game, and I watched the whole replay. They ran it again on NFL Network, and I watched it leading up to the show today so that I would be refreshed, not in a Massengale sense. Thank you. I wanted to remember what I had seen. And with the doctor's appointment that I had today, I wasn't going to, look at the tape of it. I just waited until, 2 o'clock this afternoon. The NFL Network showed it again. And they'll show it 14 more times because Baker Mayfield is now the toast of America. But there were a lot of plays in that game, if you really want to stop and look at it, that the Duke Johnson fumble that Higgins fell on, that was a live ball. There's a lot of plays that make up, either good fortune or bad fortune in a football game. But I don't want to analyze the game that way. Now, Ron Shane makes a good point. The offensive line got better when Baker came in. But you see, that is...
what he was doing to maneuver in the pocket was allowing those blocks to be much more effective.
Yeah, well,
maneuvering the defensive players to be in front of his guys.
Well, I mean, there's a lot. The O-line didn't get better, and I know what Ron means. same guys, same ability level, the whole thing got better. And this is why in the past when I'd say, oh, geez, the Browns are practicing against the Browns in the preseason. They come out in the regular season. They're playing at half speed. The other team goes into the over gear and just goes into hyper warp on us, and we have no answer for it. And we wonder what happened. And
they went plaid.
Yeah. I mean, and the announcers of the game said, boy, the first half, the Jets are playing twice as fast, basically, as the Cleveland Browns are. And that was the truth. And the defense just kind of fell into oblivion for a while, because once they saw that Tyrod Taylor was going to keep going back into the game and how inept, I mean, it looked like a bad high school offense. It really did. I mean, it was really embarrassing. It's the only word I can think of to use. And fans were pouring booze down. And, you know, the first analysis that I want to make is not to even mention Baker Mayfield, because I will, of course, but is to talk about Tyrod Taylor. And I understand that Hugh is not going to announce his starting quarterback until Monday. It's out of respect for the starting quarterback, who was the starting quarterback, who, you know, he's coming out of concussion protocol, and he doesn't want to have to read about that in the paper the next day. That's, you know, the players have the weekend off. When Hugh sees him next, he's going to tell him, and that's all well and good. But I like to be a realist. Just like I told you in the last show that Josh Gordon is a piece of shit human being, and I don't feel bad for him for his anxiety or his drug problems now. I don't even want to help him. I don't want to have anything to do with him. Fuck him. I feel the same way about Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor is a coward, and he wanted out of that game. I've seen quarterbacks get smashed. I mean, do you remember Colt McCoy when they let him back on the field when he had a concussion and he was clearly woozy? I don't know a quarterback who wants to come off the field. In the plays leading up to his departure, Tyrod was holding his low back. Tyrod was limping around. He was sitting on the bench moping. He had the blank eyes like little orphan Annie. He was just like, he wasn't talking to anybody. He was isolated. He wasn't motivating anybody. And when the second that he went down, the leg was twisted, but his head did touch the ground, for God's sakes. He immediately grabbed his head as if a fucking grenade had gone off inside of his helmet. Now, I mean, he's being watched by Josh McCown, who would try to play if a tank ran him over. If a fucking Bradley tank ran him over, Josh McCown would try to go back out in the field. He would force the coach or the team or whatever to get him off the field, but not Tyrod. Tyrod was ready just to run for the tent. And I don't mean to kick a horse when it's down, but that guy, there was no life in him. He was beaten. He was defeated. He was frustrated. And he retreated into himself. And he made it worse. Instead of pulling himself...
as I said in one of the comments on one of the videos was, he hasn't been synced up with the ones since the Bills preseason game when he went 5 for 5. That was the last time that he looked like a real professional quarterback.
Well, I mean, my tweet before the game ever began was, I don't understand this. It's like Josh Gordon's gone, all right? Landry was clearly playing hurt. And Callaway was a second unit guy. Higgins was a second unit guy. Those were all the guys that Baker Mayfield played with. Tyrod Taylor did not get reps with any of these receivers. And I asked hours before the game, why wouldn't you just play Baker Mayfield? He has more familiarity with this group of players than Tyrod Taylor. And it sure looked like it. Tyrod Taylor looked like he didn't know what to do, and that he looked like a guy who was totally depressed and a guy who just couldn't lift himself up by the bootstraps and gave up. He incurred the wrath of the Cleveland crowd, and I haven't heard that bad since, God almighty, maybe, Tim Couch would have been a good, people hated him. And I don't want to see Tyrod Taylor anymore. As far as I'm concerned, he is in the past, and I would, if Mayfield got hurt, I would not play him. He proved.
Well, and here's something else to contemplate. If he had not either pulled himself out of the game or whatever with the concussion deal, if he had played the full game, there was a very good possibility that the Browns would have been shut out 31-0.
Yeah, well, the defense was just going to quit. I mean, there was no way that the defense could sit there and stop them and then watch this ineptitude that looked like the Keystone Cops. I mean,
and I think the defense had 5 inactive players.
Yeah,
including Kirksey and wasn't Collins also out.
Yeah,
2 of the starting linebackers.
Kirksey's out. So. Collins played. You know, I'll say this, that when Tyrod Taylor underthrew Callaway on what was an easy touchdown, you know, he just plays scared. He never goes all out. He just loops the ball and lobs it straight up into the air. You know, you want a ball to get somewhere, throw it like Baker did to Landry. Throw it on a rope, man. Get it out there. I mean, step into your throws, for God's sakes. Play like a fucking man. And Amsterdam's right. Tyrod is Fredo. Papa! Yeah, Fredo. I'm smart. I'm smart. If you're not a Godfather fan, you wouldn't know.
Well, lucky for him, we got a lake right next to the stadium.
Yeah, what was the final word on Burgess's injury? Chad is mentioning that.
They said he's okay.
That is just remarkable.
It looked terrible, didn't it? It looked terrible.
Well, did you hear the entire stadium groan when they saw it on the big screen?
It looked like at least a PCL at a minimum. I mean, it looked bad.
But that's the benefit of playing on grass. If that was on turf, forget it. You'd be scraping his leg up today.
The real benefit of playing on grass is you become a New England Patriot. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, I'm on. I'm smart. I'm smart. Okay.
Hey, I missed the first 10 minutes, so I'm sure you already jumped into it. What were your thoughts on Baker?
Oh, I haven't gotten there yet.
We were just dealing with Tyrod first.
Yeah, I wanted to go off on a cowardly performance and something that I do not want associated with the Cleveland Browns.
Should have been 3 touchdowns at Callaway. The very first drive, he missed him on the sideline, had the corner beat, threw it out of bounds, and 2 grossly underthrown bombs that he should have scored on.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing good that I can say. I mean, anyone can have a bad day, but the way he handled it is not a 7-year veteran. I'm sorry. He's a guy. He looked like he didn't want to play. He looked like that the tide of losing in Cleveland was too great. And now I'm going to tell you what I see that saves the season for the Cleveland Browns. It's not just one win. One win is one win. It's better than none. Hugh will tell you that today. To me, the thing that saves the season is that the Cleveland Browns collectively won a football game. And it's because one guy came in and did something that a 7-year veteran couldn't do. And he wanted to play and he saw an opportunity and he went out and he performed and he raised the level of everybody to the point where suddenly the play calling didn't look bad. The offense didn't look inept. He was throwing the ball over the middle of the field, something that Tyrod wouldn't do. He was hitting Jarvis Landry caught. You look at the number of passes that he caught. 7 of them were from Baker Mayfield. I mean, being found in the middle of the field. Higgins, he made some good catches in the game. Even Njoku didn't drop the ball. I mean, all the things that were befalling every one of these players suddenly went away. And now all of a sudden, Baker's dropping back to pass. He's like, oh, I got a little time to throw, because he's not scrambling right into the pass rush. He's staying and he's shifting around in the pocket.
And he sparked that line. That line started pushing better and protecting better when he came in. They just knew that what they would get with him in there as opposed to Tyrod. But real quick, that throw that he had to
Landry.
To Landry down to the 1, beautiful.
Yep.
You heard Aikman say he put it in a spot that only he could catch it, which he didn't. He actually threw it a little bit to the inside, but because he threw it early,
it was a rope.
Like Tyrod holding onto it, Jarvis was the only one looking at it, was able to go up and get it, even though it was a little bit inside. I mean, that's what you get from the kid. It's amazing.
An absolute rope. And, he steps into his throws, and he's decisive. And he got away with a pick. At the goal line that we had to settle for that field goal, he got away with one because it went off the guy's shoulder pad because he threw it so hard. Yeah. But you know something? He's decisive. He makes his mind up, and he steps into it with conviction. And here's a 7-year veteran who has no conviction whatsoever. And then there's Josh Gordon, who has several convictions, but that's another story altogether. What I think of Baker Mayfield is that I don't want to jump to any conclusions about anything. The league is the league for a reason.
Yeah.
The creme de la creme plays in the NFL, and they will have mucho film on Baker in a matter of just 2 or 3 weeks. And Kelly Holcomb came out and looked like the second coming of Christ, and then they discovered the cover 2, and that he couldn't play against it, and every team threw that at him. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Baker. Say what, Michael?
Sorry.
No, what did you say?
Shit.
Oh, okay. I'm not saying that's going to happen to the young man, but be prepared for the fact that the league is going to make adjustments, and if he likes to throw over the middle of the field, they're going to note tendencies about this young guy, and they're going to, the other thing I'll tell you is that Todd Bowles, boy, is he a lousy coach, but Todd Bowles couldn't pressure Baker Mayfield. And if you look at the final drive that wins the game for the Browns, it's Baker, all right, but it's also Carlos Hyde running for yardage. And suddenly the running game starts coming to life because they're on their heels. If you look at the beginning of the game when Tyrod Taylor was playing in the game, they were just saying, okay, we know that you can't pass the ball, so we're going to stack the line of scrimmage. We're going to pressure you because you're going to panic. If you try to hand it off, we're going to be in the backfield.
After Hyde had the 22-yard run, it looked like I had to watch the game stream, of course. It looked like everything was going to be a 2, 3, 4-yard run.
But, the thing I liked about all of this is that obviously the Jets felt, well, God, if we stack the line of scrimmage, there was one quick pass that Baker made over the middle to Njoku, where the middle of the field just opened up because he caught him in a blitz. And, oh, my God, young guy can read that.
Was that the one that was a little behind him and he went down and cradled it?
No. This was the one that was.
This is the one when he threaded the needle between the backer and the safety. I thought that was a Landry, the one that he threaded.
No, you're forgetting the play. It's a play action and an immediate throw over the middle.
Yeah. Right over the top. Yeah.
And, you catch a team in a blitz and you find that open area of the field where the linebacker who's coming in to blitz vacates, and that's 20-yard gain.
Simply pop over the top. It was beautiful.
Yep, but the thing is, they couldn't do to Baker Mayfield what they did to Tyrod Taylor. And that is another game analysis, is that the defense had to be concerned not only about the passing game, but about the running game, because once you become focused on the pass, the run becomes easier. And just like once if you can't stop the run, the pass becomes easier. That to me is huge. And the other, go ahead.
Did you see that Todd Bowles didn't give credit to Baker? He's saying that it wasn't because of Baker, it's because of the penalties. It's like, dude, come on. Give that man props. Give him some credit, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, what? They got their ass kicked by a guy who had never taken reps with the ones all preseason and regular season. I mean, what are you going to say? What does that say about your defense? What does that say about your coaching ability? So, no, I wouldn't expect Todd Bowles to say that. What I do suspect, I mean, after the game, watching Josh McCown talking to Baker Mayfield, I'd say that maybe Josh wishes he was playing quarterback coach for another quarterback. Let's put it that way. Because that's the other revelation, is that if I'm a New York Jets fan and I'm watching Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, and I'm saying those are the top two quarterbacks that were taken in the draft.
Yeah.
And you're going to say I'm forced to compare them. And
second coming of Richard Todd.
Well, yeah. You remember my chief complaint about why I did not want the Browns to draft Sam Darnold. It was because he was reliving his failures in college at the combine. I have regrets about those turnovers and all the sacks that I allowed and getting stripped and losing the ball. And, and after this game, he was all over himself again, saying, this one's on me and I take the responsibility. And, Baker just went out and fucking won.
Yeah.
I love that kid, man. Oh, it'd be 3-0. God damn it.
Darnold had a 14-0 lead, and he could have won that game. And not only did he not win the game, the more the game got competitive, the worse he got. And that is not the guy I wanted in the draft. And I'll tell you something else. There is nothing about Sam Darnold. He converted a fourth down in which Kearse made an incredible catch. He did not do anything downfield that was of any significance. He threw the same little bubble screen to his number 81 receiver 3 times until the Browns finally figured out that play. Darnold, say what? Yeah.
I thought the fucking crow was going to get the last laugh. Thank God he didn't.
Well, look, this will tell you something about a total lack of dignity.
Oh, that was the other thing. I was telling the Jets fans, it's not Crowell that's going to do all the damage. It's going to be Bilal Powell.
Yeah, I mean, no axe to grind with the fans. Why would you wipe your ass with a football and then throw it into the stands?
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that to you guys because I was wondering, because Isaiah Crowell scored both the touchdowns for the Jets, and it was like he was personally sending the message to the Browns fans.
No, the fans didn't do anything to him. The Browns, it was Hugh Jackson who said he's an average running back and anyone could have hit the hole he hit. It wasn't the fans. The fans never got down on Crowell. Why would he? Because he's a classless guy. Because he can't celebrate without pissing on somebody who has nothing to do with his argument. Nothing at all.
Mr. Moohead, isn't it normal, though, for players to leave a team and then come back and want revenge? That's happened to my Texans a lot.
You want revenge against the team, so you trash talk against the players. What's that have to do with wiping your ass with a football and throwing it into the crowd?
Randy Moss wiped his ass on the field goal post in the wild card game against the Packers.
No. Simulated mooning the fans, and the fans moon the opposing players in Green Bay. So that was a tit for tat kind of a thing.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure though. Maybe somebody in the dog pound wipes their ass. I don't know. It was just a real bad look. Let's just put it.
We're allowed to wipe this.
And Todd Bowles didn't like it either. I mean,
how about that 4th pick overall in the draft, man? Just what he's done through 3 games.
Well, here's my final comment on Darnold. Yes, I know he's sorry. Yes, I know he has regrets. But he only completed passes to 2 wide receivers in the game, and one was at the tail end in a total prevent situation to Pryor, who was totally invisible. He was wiping his ass on the field, and he wasn't playing as far as I could see. And 81, who got the bubble screens. But there was nothing that he was throwing to wide receivers down the field in any consistent way. There was no long ball until the end that was picked by Mitchell.
Yeah.
He looked, and that the play that made me break up laughing is when his knee was down and he still tried to shovel the pass out. That was
grounding. There's nobody there.
Do you know what people in New York were saying? They've christened him White Kaiser.
I said that before the draft. I said that before the draft. I called him he would be the white Deshaun Kaiser if the Browns drafted him.
I mean, what a panic. I mean, my God, it's like, I'll do it for you. It's like he sees the pass rush, he gets nervous, and all of a sudden he's going down and he just, if it were Kaiser, he'd have thrown it up in the air and the guy would have pick-sixed it. Darnold basically shot a 1940s women's free throw with it. What a pussy.
There's nobody like within 15 yards.
Yeah. I mean, it just panic. So they, if the difference between the 1 pick and the 3 pick is all that,
Gilbert should have had 2.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't see it in Darnold. I don't see that I don't see any signs of greatness. Anyone can have a good season, a bad season, a good game, a bad game, but there was nothing about him that fired up his teammates, that gave his teammates any reason to believe they were going to win that football game. And when it came down to the end, I simplify games when I'm watching them, and I turned to my wife and I said, "Can I have another piece of banana bread, please?" No. What I said to her was, this is what it comes down to. It was 17-14. They had to settle for a field goal. Our number 1 pick got the team down for the touchdown to go up 21-17. Now the number 3 pick has to lead them down the field and get them at least, you had to get a touchdown at that point. So let's see how he does with it. And he crapped his pants is what he did.
But not to make excuses and not to cut him too much slack, we are a top 3 to 5 defense. It's just relentless. Relentless D. It's amazing.
Well, but look, here's the biggest reason the season was saved. You can come in and have a great game like Baker Mayfield did and still lose. But stop and think just for a minute of the people who contributed to the win besides Baker Mayfield. All right? And there were several of them. The offense, Landry made a catch that was, right up there with trapping the ball on your helmet kind of catch. Just an unbelievable hold on to a pass that he could have been stripped of. Denzel Ward makes a huge play stripping the football and getting on top of it. The Browns were where they needed to be with Higgins and Bitonio to get fumble recoveries that kept them the ball. Instead of the things that the Browns always do to lose, all of a sudden, the defense at the end on 2 occasions came up with turnovers at the end of the game to seal the fate of the New York Jets. This is not just Baker Mayfield. This is a team that learned, as we talked before, how to win and close out a football game. What will make this team dangerous from this point forward against anyone they play is that they know they can win, and with Baker Mayfield on the field, they feel like they can win. They feel like the defense feels like if we get stops, we're putting it into the hands of a guy who threw for 200 yards in a half. Somebody who put up 21 points in a half. We're playing with a guy who scores touchdowns, just doesn't get us into a position to miss a field goal. That's who we got now. And every time we get a turnover, we're giving it to Baker to get the ball into the end zone. And there's a belief. You could see the light go on. And it was like the speed of everybody, the offensive line sped up. The tempo of the offense sped up. The decisiveness of the reads of the quarterback went from this slow motion, vague, I don't know what I'm doing out here, to a focused, firm, commanding presence. His presence in the 2-minute drill before the half. He was controlling that line of scrimmage, telling people what to do. While he was running for his life on one play, he's yelling to Charles, come back for the fucking pass.
And he fucking dropped it.
He's engaged. And when one guy gets engaged to that level and buys in, everyone starts it. If you didn't see the headline today, this will tell you everything you need to know. Jarvis Landry, after the game, they say Jarvis Landry came alive when Baker Mayfield entered the game against the Jets. Absolutely, said Landry. Mayfield energized the whole stadium. I'm sure you all felt it. For Bake to come in right before half, it's just a testament, said Landry, who caught 7 of his 8 passes for 91 of his 103 yards. I promise you it's just a testament to how he's worked since the day he stepped into this building and not having that backup mentality. He was so ready for this moment, he grabbed it by the horns. However, if you remember on the play in which Tyrod Taylor threw the intentional grounding because he threw it out of the end zone, and the ball was supposed to go into a dead spot in the zone. Right.
Yeah, Landry was right there.
And Landry unsnapped his helmet. He was so pissed off. How bright can the future be? He said, Baker, his future is as bright as these lights. Anything else would be an understatement. That is Jarvis Landry. And how did Jarvis Landry respond when Tyrod Taylor came out, caught 91 yards worth of passes, and with a wrecked leg came out and returned punts?
And he did drop one perfect ball that Baker put on him pretty quick.
Yeah, that ball got there, didn't it? But the thing is,
but that's like changing pitchers with no warm-up time.
Yeah, but I mean,
the speed of the ball was just that much faster.
Clearly, it's zip, man. It's just pop, pop, pop. It's beautiful.
What's infectious about it is Landry's the team leader, but he had to be restoked by a rookie. And once he was restoked, other people caught fire, and pretty soon guys are blocking. Guys are flying to the ball, stripping the ball, intercepting the ball.
Yeah,
that shit is contagious, man. Contagious.
Hey, on that first drive you guys had, when y'all let that field goal, as soon as Baker came in, I saw him in the huddle. He's telling everybody, "Come here, come here, come here," because he's trying to get everybody on the same page. And even the offensive linemen are like, "Huh?" Like they were responding positively, as opposed to Tyrod. He's just like,
We are on the cusp of something magical. Like, I think it's going to be, I mean, granted they're two different sports, but like the 95 Indians, man, that magic that was at home and even on the road. But I mean, last at bat victories. I just feel like Baker has just ignited something we haven't seen here since Bernie in the mid 80s, those 3 years against them.
That's right.
Tremendous. It's awesome.
It was great seeing him tapping guys on the helmet like Duke Johnson. Duke, who's not getting a fair shake in the offense at all. And
he caught a big sideline pass.
Didn't he get him twice? At least once. I thought twice he got him.
He should be running the ball more from the line of scrimmage. I'll tell you something about Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's not going to play until he starts blocking people. He's not going to lack of effort, total lack of effort. He came out of the backfield wide open on a pass, and he didn't even run out the pattern and turn around.
Didn't he miss the guy on the block punt? I thought that was
that was him. Yep. Duke Johnson's got to run the ball from scrimmage more. But Baker Mayfield knows that Duke Johnson's going to be very important to him, and he intentionally went over to him, patted him on the helmet, even though he wasn't in the game on the play where the Browns ran it in on 3rd and goal. It's like he was saying, don't worry. I'm going to find you. Don't worry. We're going to get you involved. He's bumping heads with people. He's fist, going in and high-fiving and knuckles to guys. And it reminded me of Bernie Kosar. After the Browns beat the Jets in overtime all the way back in 1986, when I was a much younger
I'll give you an even better, to me, he's an even better comparison to me, he reminds me more of Jim McMahon and his leadership style.
Yeah.
Well,
because of the headband.
How old is Baker Mayfield?
Well, that plus he runs around. He's with the defense. He's with the offense. He's trying to get the entire team lifted up rather than just I'm an offensive player and I'm only going to stick to the offensive players.
Baker's 23.
23 years.
He's so humble. They said he's cocky. Like when he sat down with the NFL Network crew after, they tried to put it on. They tried to make him the savior. They said the savior, and they tried to put him up on this pedestal. And he immediately deflects it. He's like, no, it's not me. It's everybody. First thing he gave credit to was the defense, and then the rest of the team. So it's like he's like, I'm not. It's not me. So I love the kid.
Natural born Texas star. He's from Austin, Texas, too. Played for OU. What a coincidence. And now he's
steers and queers, Steven. Steers and queers.
Look like a steer to me.
So when Bernie Kosar was 23, we beat the Jets in '86. And an overtime game in which Kosar threw for 489 yards.
At that game, double overtime win, yeah.
Yeah, huge win. After the game, reporter went up to Kosar and asked him what it all meant to him, and he said, just another day at the office.
Wow.
And Baker Mayfield, if you watched him on NFL Network after the game, they brought him out, and he's walking around the field, and he's just like, there's a look in his face like, this is what I do. This is not, if it were somebody like Johnny Manziel, he would be jacking off on himself or whatever. But this guy,
he'd be intoxicated jacking on himself.
And he said, it's one win and we got to get ready for Oakland. I mean, he knows how long the season is, and he's smart enough to know that one game is one game, good or bad. And he expected to win. He expected to come in and play well, unlike Tyrod Taylor, unlike all these other bozos we've had to watch. This guy, and we haven't had somebody like that since Bernie, who really believed they were going to win every time he hit the field, that he would find a way to get it done.
Yeah, and I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry.
Bernie, so that you remember, if you didn't see the '86 game, you should go back and watch it. It's on YouTube. When the Browns fell behind at the end of the game by 10 points with only like 4 minutes left to go in the game, when Freeman McNeil ran the ball in on an end run into the end zone, a sweep, I guess they called it back then. Bernie went back in the huddle as soon as the Browns hit the field again and said, we are going to get this game. We are going to take it. And they did. And that's what you need, is somebody keeping everyone's head above water. And Baker Mayfield is a born leader.
17 for 23, 201 yards, a quarterback rating of 100.1.
3 drops should have been caught. I mean, the one that to the tight end, whoever that was, Fells, the one that Jarvis dropped, and then the other one that he dropped into Callaway on the outside shoulder was perfectly placed. So
74% quarterback completion rating for the attempts and catches.
And meanwhile, Darnold was 15 of 31 and truly Kaiser-esque.
You know what's funny about that, Mr. Moohead, is after the first game when the Jets beat the Lions, the I don't know if you saw the New York Daily, they were all like on this guy saying, "You better watch out, Brady. We got our future quarterback." And after 2 losses, they're going like Kaiser.
No, I mean, I could see. Couldn't you see like a movie and James Earl Jones there, and it's like one of those movies like a Eugene O'Neill play, you know, like The Emperor Jones, and James Earl Jones looks up at Sam Darnold and says, I find White Kaiser standing in front of me. You know,
Joseph Allen wants to know our opinions on trade Jamie Collins, please. He is invisible. Thoughts?
No,
I've been seeing him all season.
He was clapping his hands after a play. He didn't make it. But I don't know. I mean, right now we're low on linebackers, aren't we? We got to get Kirksey back, and but again, I'm not going to sit and piss on Jamie Collins. I say the defensive unit as it's at really did pretty damn well, and our defensive secondary is so vastly improved. But you knew that the Jets were in trouble when, you know, I mean, Terrell Pryor, really?
Am I wrong for saying this? But after Baker led that first drive and it led to the field goal, at halftime I knew the Browns were going to win. Was that just me?
Right when Baker came in, I knew we were going to win.
Yes, you know, and it was funny because the announcers mentioned that, Stephen. There's only one guy out there who believes that the Browns are going to win this game, and that's Stephen in Texas. I was amazed.
Something told me that. No, I meant I didn't watch the NFL Network because I was watching a live reaction from Crazy Dog, and he had the TV on mute. But as soon as Baker led that drive, and I was watching a little highlight thing on NFL.com, something in my head told me, man, if he keeps doing drives like this, I don't think the Jets will be able to stop him.
What is a live reaction? I mean, you're watching Crazy Dog just spooge all over himself when they win.
He's watching the game, and I'm watching him watching the game.
So you're like a voyeur. He's having sex, and you're watching.
I see a chat.
No, Mr. Moohead, this is what I wanted to ask you really on the Wade Jackson. After the game, Wade Jackson was interviewed, and they asked him about what quarterback he wanted to go with. He said, well, I got to go back and look at the tapes because it's obviously a tough decision. I'm like, well, you idiot. He was.
Well, no, but look, I mean, let's be fair. I mean, there's plenty of reasons that we can criticize Wade Jackson. However, you can't have a guy with a concussion wake up in the morning and read in the paper that he's been benched. The players have this weekend off. The organization has given them the weekend off. They're reconvening on Monday. That's when Huey's going to sit down with Tyrod and say, boy, if you think your head hurts now, wait till you hear the news.
And to be honest, Tyrod already knew after that performance. He knew he was never going to get.
Oh, he shit the bed. I mean, he totally shit the bed.
But he likes Tyrod. Do you think he's going to meddle and then tell him he's going to start against Oakland?
Absolutely not.
No, that would cost him his job. And I mean, that would
cost him his life.
Yeah.
Mr. Moohead will drive down there and personally throw him in the lake.
He could not walk out of his goddamn front door without getting pummeled by Louisville sluggers.
Yeah.
You know, what you would end up with if that happened, Stephen, would be members of white supremacy groups finding their way to Cleveland and making him take a second trip into the lake, but much further out with ankle weights. Okay, that's what would happen to Hugh Jackson if he chose Tyrod Taylor. I mean, it would be like,
it wouldn't even have to be white power. The Black Panthers would take him out because it would be the dumbest decision that any coach would.
Okay, devil's advocate. If Baker gets hurt, do you go back to Tyrod or do you go to Stanton? I'm just asking.
I swear to God, you have more questions. It's like, let me answer it this way. If the Queen had balls, she'd be king. This is going to be my standard answer to you, Stephen. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not going to be Drew Stanton, okay? And I'll tell you something else. I think the Jets would have had a better chance of winning this game with Josh McCown.
Yeah,
he wouldn't have lost his head like Darnold did. And but this is the growing pains they're willing to go through. But we know what growing pains are like with quarterbacks who are not the real deal. And there's something, Sam. I don't know. Has there ever been a great quarterback named Sam? Honey, look, Sam's on the field. Sam.
You're right.
I was sold on Bradford coming out of Oklahoma, though.
So was I.
Sammy Baugh?
Sammy. At least Sammy sounded like something you could eat. But, I mean, Sam. But Baker.
The only Sam that I can think of is Sam Bam Cunningham.
Yeah, I mean.
And he was a running back.
but then you look at that big fucking forehead and you go, a little more makeup and he'd look like a Star Trek alien. I mean, it's like, what the fuck?
Well, if you painted him green, he could be Herman Munster.
He does have that Frankenstein look about him, for sure.
Yeah, he does. And I mean, it's, it just doesn't pass the eye test. That was your third pick. And,
I think you guys could beat the Raiders because if the Raiders lose at Miami, they're at 0-3, and then they got to fly back to Oakland.
Yeah, I'm actually on the fence. I'm thinking about driving up there because it's only a 5.5-hour drive from where I'm at. So
there is a real chance, and that's the other thing of this is Oakland is having growing pains because of Gruden's Chucky's purge of the roster, and we're going to be facing another Drew Brees-esque guy, at quarterback, Derek Carr, who is that kind of quarterback, and it's a road game, and no road game's easy, but you look at this and you say, can you imagine if the Browns rested after 8 days or 10 days or whatever, and they're rested and they go in healthy into this game, and if they somehow win, even if it's by one fucking point, they're 2-1-1, and you look at how the division is, and Pittsburgh's in last place. Cincinnati, they're playing at Carolina. If they lose, we could be basically tied for the top.
In Pittsburgh.
I mean, but look at when you look at the Oakland defense, you see how amazing Khalil Mack was because they're so pedestrian. I mean, they're so fucking average. Like they would be, they're good maybe against Alabama, but they're not going to beat a professional team with that defense.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I've always broken the season down into 4-4-4-4.
That's what Baker said last night too.
And 4-4-4-4. And here we go. If we win, we're 2-1-1 after 4. Mm-hmm. Nobody would have expected 2-1-1 after 4. But a critical thing has happened that we didn't expect. In the attempt for the team to get better, we added by subtraction by getting rid of Josh Gordon and all of the complications that came with him. We promoted Baker Mayfield to the starting quarterback position, and there's momentum. There's a positive vibe, and that's going to carry over into the second 4 games of the year. Now, I'm not telling you that, the Browns are going to be a playoff team. We're not there. But
beg to differ, but
well, yeah, I know. Fans want to feel like fans, but look at it this way. there is such a more positive vibe surrounding the team inside the walls of Berea as well as in the fan base. To perform the way they did and come back from 14-0 down and do it at home, that stadium was finally rocking like it's supposed to. And very rarely do the fans get what they want. All right. Usually the fans want Beyonce to sing the national anthem and take her top off afterwards. Okay. But they don't get that. Instead, D. Haslam flashes them. That's how things work for fans in Cleveland. Okay. Like, God, I could have lived without that. Jesus.
What is seen can never be unseen. Ah, my eyes. I'm blind.
Could you see D topless on the big jumbotron and the crowd singing, "It's Slinky, it's Slinky"?
Oh,
Large gray nipples.
God damn. I think she bruised one of her knees. God damn. Yeah. The fans don't usually get what they want. However, the fans got to, Baker Mayfield. They were doing the Baker chant long before Tyrod, got hurt. He comes into the game. He completes one pass, and everyone's cheering. But 17 of 23 for 201 yards. The fans got what they want, and God damn it, the fans were right. That's the scary part. The scariest part of all of this is Hiram on Twitter actually was happy for 5 minutes, but then he came back and said that Tyrod deserved to be the starting quarterback. So it will tell you that the fans were right. What Hugh Jackson was looking at, I have no idea, but I know this. In the preseason, they shut Zampese up when Zampese said that Baker Mayfield was the real deal, and he did everything but come up and endorse him as the starting quarterback because Hugh wanted to eliminate the specter of a quarterback competition. He did not want to foster that in training camp. He was going to sit the rookie.
But boy, did the Baiting a Dead Horse Society give it their best.
Yeah, I know. But hey, look at Todd Haley.
Mr. Moohead, we all agree that Hugh needs to go, right? And, we're in a catch-22 here because we know we're winning games and we're going to continue to win games despite his lack of his ineptitude. So, they're not going to fire him if we, even if we go 500 or if we make a playoff run, right? There's absolutely no way Jimmy's going to fire him then, but we know we can't get to that next level. Can we get all the way to the promised land with that dipshit? I feel like he's got to go.
The dipshit that was there. You know what they need to do? They need to put a little top hat on him.
A dunce cap?
No. Like that little hobo cap that Magilla Gorilla wore, the cartoon character.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like, no, I really honestly don't. It didn't affect the team yesterday. The question is Hugh going to do something that's going to fuck up all the positive vibes? Nothing would really totally surprise me. But the fans got what they wanted. They were right. What Hugh was seeing, I don't know. Todd Haley in preseason said Baker Mayfield was the real deal. Everyone saw it. Hugh didn't see it. Now Hugh sees it. So I think everyone in the organization, if you didn't hear what John Dorsey said, and somebody in the press pool caught this in a conversation with Jimmy Haslam
last night on the sidelines.
It was actually after the game.
Oh, no, I didn't.
And somebody overheard John Dorsey say, "Jimmy, what did you do with that rebate money, really?" No, that's not what he said. what he said, he said, "I think I picked the right guy," because it was down to Darnold and Baker. And, he passes the test with everyone in that organization now. Dorsey, in essence, has named him the starter. Zampese has, Haley has. There's no way to get out of this at this point. So, and the confidence is riding high, and these guys are going to be playing harder to protect Baker. And Baker has, I want to see what Baker looks like getting reps with the ones and being able to work with the game plan.
No doubt.
I mean, this is a bright guy. He came in and knew what to do. And I want to see how
impressive was that? With no reps, all camp, mini camp, OTAs, nothing with the ones. And then even this week, it was just all mental reps to come in. I mean, that's why Joe Thomas was legitimately dumbfounded. He couldn't believe it. It's just, it just shows the tremendous talent IQ of this kid. And the sky is the fucking limit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Joe Thomas was spooging all over himself.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
He looked like he wanted to get underneath that desk and start, teabagging Baker, man. Like like the way he was looking at him.
Yeah, I know. It was a little bit amorous, and boy, he's lost a lot of weight, Joe Thomas. That'll tell you what football players have to do to keep weight on. That Barkevius Mingo should have gone on Joe Thomas's previous diet. The guys who can't carry weight in the NFL have a problem. But boy, I think I really believe that he's lost like 60 pounds, 70 pounds.
70 like a few weeks ago, and he looks even slimmer than like 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that's the same guy. Yeah. So, And Brian Baylark in the chat room is right. So the money the Browns have, they're going to attract even better players next year. When you have a quarterback like Baker Mayfield, wide receivers, if Rashard Higgins doesn't work out, if the guys don't work out, you're going to get not just a Des Bryant, a scrap heap guy. You're going to get a real
Antonio Bryant may want out of Pittsburgh. You never know.
Well, you can attract a real name wide receiver. And, and it's true. John Dorsey also picked Patrick Mahomes. And, Mahomes took a beating last year because, he was sitting with a clipboard. And now all of a sudden, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he's off to a great start. And, I think that we have a professional. I'm not saying that John Dorsey is the be-all, end-all. There was a reason why Kansas City fired him. And a lot of it had to do with John Dorsey's opinion of John Dorsey. And there were people who said that he was a little bit egomaniacal to work with.
Wasn't it, like a power struggle between him and Andy Reid or something?
Yeah, there was difficulty there. But, in the end, he is a professional. We haven't had a professional general manager there in a long, long time. And we will get better players. And it's great seeing a guy like Avery not only pass rush, but break up passes down the field and cover running backs. And I mean, we're getting input from all kinds of guys on the field who are developing, are young. Look at Ogunjobi. What a big talent.
That's the one thing that Sashi Brown gets props for, is bringing in Ogunjobi.
But Ogunjobi's taken a massive leap this year compared to the past.
Too.
I mean, he really
he worked out in the offseason with Geno Atkins and I can't remember somebody else out west. But yeah, that's the only thing Sashi did for this organization.
Wow. Yeah. He left. And that was kind of an important part. He vacated out.
Hey, Mr. Moohead, do you see Des Bryant signing a contract with any team this year? Because we're already going on week 3, and he still hasn't.
No, I think that there's a greater, desire for kickers.
Not unless it's a really serious injury to the Rams or some other contending team. I really don't see him getting signed.
Wow. That's shocking.
Not really. His production sucked.
Only in
he's a one-route guy.
He's a cancer too. I wouldn't want that.
Oh, by the way, the headline now: report finds the Maryland Terps failed to properly diagnose and treat Jordan McNair, the kid who died.
Oh,
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And they're using that as motivation for their season. It's a sickness. College football is a fucking sickness. I swear to God.
Kicked our ass in week 1, so.
You know, and did you see Baker has, a shoe endorsement ad that's running?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, a men's shoe, high-end shoe. It's not Alden.
I'm gonna have to get me a pair of Bakers.
I mean, but they're about $300-$400 shoes.
Oh shit!
Hush puppies.
Hush puppies.
No, but I mean, there's gonna be a lot of people talking. A lot of people talking about Baker Mayfield
with the shoes and his underwear.
But I mean, I'm like, watching that was exciting, and it was nice that the fans got to see it at home. But I walk away from the game saying the Browns are a much more dangerous team now because they take themselves seriously. And after coming so close a couple times to get that taste of victory, the timing is huge. And the team, even if it just struggles to a 5-11 record or 6-10 record or whatever it ends up, there is, for the first time, genuine hope that the organization is on the right track. And, we haven't had that feeling. I mean, and this wasn't a Bill Belichick 6-3 win over the Buffalo Bills in a snowstorm kind of win. Yeah. This wasn't that kind of thing. This was a legitimate come from behind win in which your defense closed out the other team.
Yep. And you ended your 635 days streak without a win. Now the Houston Texans have the longest streak in the NFL at 306 days without a victory.
Well, I mean, the teams that don't have quarterbacks pay the price. The Buffalo Bills now have to turn to Josh Allen, and I don't know.
With an empty roster.
With an empty roster, that's right. And, you're going to take a look at these quarterbacks getting a chance to play, and you can decide for yourselves who number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 were. But we got a good guy. For once, we got a good guy, and it isn't. At no time watching him in the preseason, I just never felt that this guy was anything but confident, poised, positive. And the thing that was great is when the game sped up, he sped up. He didn't look any more pressured in this game than he did in the preseason.
Isn't it just amazing the way he manipulates that pocket? That one, it looked like a sure sack.
Yeah.
He just feels it.
And he completed the throw.
Yeah, unbelievable, man.
I mean, here's another thing about Darnold before I am done, because it's already 7:00. Darnold has a routine that is a bad routine, and I want to do it for you on the screen. I saw him do this on a number of occasions. It's not a pump fake. It's, I know who I'm going to throw to, but I don't think I should throw it quite yet. And then, okay, I'm going to, and in that split second, again,
it's like a hitch.
It's an indecisive hitch. It's a quarterback.
Almost like a double trigger on a rifle.
Yes. He sees, but he doesn't trust what his eyes see. And as a result, he ends up throwing late. It is precisely how Schobert almost intercepted the first one and did intercept the second one. That play, if you watch the guy, whoever it was, I think it was Ogunjobi, pushed the center right back into Darnold. Darnold saw his man, and he went like this, and he pulled it back and did it again. you mark my words, he's going to fumble a lot of balls in the pocket, just like he did at USC, because you hold the ball out here and think you're going to pull it back, somebody's going to strip it from you. And you keep throwing late over the middle, and you're going to throw a lot of picks. Yep. That's just, the league.
Well, that's what they did to Roethlisberger in week 1.
Yeah.
When he had the ball out away from his body, that's when they were able to really jam his arm and knock the ball out.
How many picks did the Browns get on, or turnovers did the Browns get on the Jets last night?
Well, I mean, let's count them. Denzel Ward's strip. The 2 picks at the end of the game is 3. And was there? I don't think there was any other. There were the 2 picks and the strip. That's it. 3.
3 games. Y'all had like what? 11, 12 turnovers. By
11.
That's
11
sick.
compared to 13 last year.
I think we had 13 all of last year, didn't we?
That's correct.
Sick. That means you're on pace for 40, 50 turnover. I'm just saying,
Yeah. Why? No. You're supposed to say, what if, Mr. Moohead, what if they got 60 turnovers this year? If the Queen had balls, Stephen. No.
Steven, is your dad ever going to make a cameo? I mean, I haven't heard you ask any questions on his behalf.
Actually, he does plan on making a cameo. He does.
All right.
But he's New York everything.
His head is lodged inside of a giant magic 8-ball.
He's New York everything, so be prepared for that New York accent.
Oh, he's a New Yorker?
Yeah, he was born in Massapequa. He's Giants, Knicks.
I'm going to talk his language because he's going to come on with that New York accent, and I'm going to do my New York guy. I've never done this character for you before, okay? So we'll do the New York guy before we get out of here. It's like, go ahead. Stephen, go ahead and say something that your dad might say about the Giants or the Jets. Go ahead.
No, he'll say something about the Knicks. God damn it. New York Knicks at it again.
Hey, let me tell you something here. Right here. The Knicks are here in my trousers, okay? They're right here in my fucking trousers. That's what I think of the goddamn Knicks. I don't want to hear that fucking shit from you. I think you gotta be emphatic, You
gotta add the Z to the end of those.
Yep. Then he's gonna do his Eli Manning retard impression, He does it all the time. He's like, anymore.
I want to see that. That's really politically incorrect. That's really fantastic.
I can't ball anymore.
I can see Michael. Michael is just, his skin's crawling because it's like, no, we don't do that voice.
No, fuck that. I do a really good retard impression.
Do you? Go ahead.
I'm doing my own goal. I've been with I just think that Baker Mayfield gonna take us to Super Bowl this year. Is that politically correct or incorrect?
That was too damn good.
You never want to go full retard.
Kind of like Eli Manning there.
Remember, what does he say? He's like, remember Sean Penn, I am Sam?
Yeah, fuck the goddamn fucking retard. I don't. Yeah, the New York guy is like.
What do you mean, you people?
I don't read the script. Script reads me.
Yeah.
Hey guys, did they ever say why Vontae Davis left the halftime? Did he ever respond?
But he was done playing football.
Yeah, he gave some limp-wristed excuses.
Yeah, I mean it's. Oh, go ahead. Ask the New York guy about D. Haslam.
Hey, yo, what do you think of that? Their D. Haslam, huh?
Well, let me tell you something about that ugly bitch. The only thing I might fuck her with is a crucifix, okay? And I don't even know why I would do that, except for the religious illusion, because I wouldn't let my body part touch D. Haslam. What a fucking ugly bitch she is. God.
You know why I'd use a crucifix? Because I couldn't fit a menorah up her ass.
Kind of sound a little bit like Dice Clay there.
Oh!
What's in the bowl, bitch?
Oh, God. No, you got to have the cigarette.
Yeah.
What's in the bowl, bitch? Yeah. Great. I mean, can you actually recite the whole thing?
I remember just like, Mary, Mary, quite contrary, trim that pussy, it's so damn hairy. Oh!
Yeah, good. Okay. I mean, he actually remembered the whole nursery rhyme, and that's, let's
Hickory,
see.
Hickory duck. That bitch went on my cock.
Bitch was sucking my cock.
Yeah.
Before you kick us off, did you hear about the New York Yankees whining about the playoff system again today?
Oh, they're whining about everything. Josh Donaldson.
They threw Cleveland under the bus. They were crying this morning that they had to play a one-game play-in while they, quote-unquote, Cleveland limped their way into the playoffs by winning a crappy division. That they're complaining that they have more wins, but they have to compete in a one-game play-in with Oakland. Crying about it.
Fuck New York and fuck your daddy.
You know what my favorite one was? I'm trying to piece the words together. Little Bo Peep lost her sheep.
Oh, yeah. Fuck. What was that?
It was something like
Jack and Jill with a $1 and a quarter.
Yeah.
Came down with $2.50.
It was something. Yeah, it was something like Little Bo Peep lost her sheep.
Oh, blue. Like Little Bo Peep licked her horse and blew. Fuck, dude, it was so long ago.
No, I know. This is terrible. I mean, I used to know this stuff by heart. All I remember was the end, and every time something, his furry dick got hard. That was the sheep. I don't remember how it got to that point. And it was like...
Wait, the one, what's in the bowl, bitch? It was something about... it was the one about going to the cupboard. Oh,
Old Mother Hubbard. Went to her cupboard
to get her old dog
a bone. Something about Rover. Then Rover took over and gave her a bone of his own. Oh
yeah, gave her a bone of his own.
yeah.
How about you ever listen to the old Adam Sandler shit, like his old skits, like the goat and some of that other dumb shit?
No.
After your time.
You mean Adam Sandler was once funny?
I mean, some of his comedy tapes, he had like the goat and he had some good songs and what was that? The one about the mother's like, why don't you jerk off for mama? Oh, it's like, you're gonna get a bellyache. Why don't you sit on the side of the pool and play with your dick for mama? There's like this old Jewish lady always trying to get her boys to play with their dicks and balls. You never heard that one?
No. And I hope I never do. Hey, I got to get out of here. It's almost 7:15. I got to get this thing up on the archive. And I got the Indians against the Red Sox. And Josh Tomlin pitched his last game for the Indians. Praise God. Okay.
Just dick the balls for mama.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Moohead, are you preparing for an Astros-Indians first-round playoffs? That's what's going to be, 2-3 matchup.
Yeah, I'm not really prepared for the Indians going very far. What I do know is that Jason Kipnis will misjudge fly ball in the center field that will cost us, and he will stop hitting when it matters. That is what I know. But at any rate, the
Indians will get swept.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way it'll go. But the Browns
season go to the Super Bowl. Sorry.
Yeah, the Brown season will continue. That's
We're going to the Super Bowl, baby.
So, all right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Way to go, Browns victory party. Who thought that we would be around to say that? We have to wait until next Sunday for a halftime and postgame. So I'm really curious how the listenership will be because we got a fast start.
Can I just ask a quick question? Because it seems like that like the two callers that were on before, because whenever I can't call in, it's because I'm not home, and I click on the link that you have when I have the whatever it's called, the Hangouts, but I can't get out on my phone for some reason. But
it does that to me too. It does that to me too on my phone.
So I would love to, because I think, like I said, there's a 50-50 chance that I'm going to go up to Oakland. I would love to be able to get on while I'm there, but I mean, does anybody know? Can you get on, or do you have to be have an Apple phone?
I'm wondering what I think there are things that are not clear about Hangouts. And Hangouts was originally designed to go with Google Plus, which was terminated. Consequently, they have live streaming beta on YouTube, but it's not ready yet for prime time. And I think eventually they will phase Hangouts out, but I think Hangouts might have a limitation as far as that is concerned. I mean, what does it do when you click on the link? It just doesn't transport you anywhere?
Yeah, and I think there was one show I heard you saying, "Oh, Michael's trying to call in," and I think with me on my phone clicking the link, and it says that I'm on a call, but I don't see anything or hear anything.
It does that to me too, and
that's exactly right. And it's interesting because after the show, I'm just looking at my cell phone, and it says, you know, Michael Proud and blah 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 blah, Stephen. You know, they all were calling, and it's like, well, it never hits my laptop here. Never hits it.
Like that, I don't know his name, but the black guy that was on the show a few days ago, it seemed like he was calling on the phone. I couldn't tell, but it seemed like he had headphones on. He was walking around outside. I assumed he was on his phone. So I was wondering how he was able to do it, but I couldn't get on.
Yeah, you know, maybe I'll try to get a hold of Gemini and ask him how he did it, because that is an interesting point. There may be some phones. What kind of phone are you using, Michael?
I got an old Galaxy S6, so I'm due for a new phone anyhow. It's about 3 years old.
And Stephen, what are you trying it on?
I got a Galaxy Note 8, so it's one under the 9, the new one.
Ah, so it's still not working.
Yeah, like it'll go to Hangout. It'll say go in, so I press the button. Then it'll say like sign in or whatever. So then I sign in my account, which is weird. It shouldn't ask me that because I'm already signed on my YouTube through my phone as well as my laptop. So then when I go to there, it'll say like call in, and I'm like, why should I have to call? It should just put me right in the room. You know?
Yeah. I mean, are you using a Gmail identification?
I think so.
Make sure you are, because everything in Google world is, you know, it's Gmail.
They have to be if they're on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, so you want to make sure that all your protocols are correct, but I don't understand it myself.
What if you guys tried using the Twitter link? Because he puts the link in with his Twitter feed.
It's probably still going to Hangouts, though, right?
Yeah, it's all on Hangouts. I mean, it's the same link. Yeah, I don't get it.
Be able to bring us right in. Laptop, it brings me right in. That's why I have to race home literally after work just to get on here, you know?
I'll see if I can get a hold of Gemini and see what phone he was using and how he did it, because that shouldn't be doing that. All right, guys, thanks a lot for jumping in with me. I appreciate it. Hey, we have something to celebrate, and now it's enjoy the weekend. There you go, old school. And we'll be back again with you on Monday to talk about what happened around the rest of the league and specifically in the AFC North. Thanks.
With our occasionally comical show.
Yes.
And do your LeBron. Do your LeBron.
Oh, break it over the knee. Yeah, there you go. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again on Monday. Until then, hasta la vista, Fasterheads. Good night.